Okay, so the year is 2018. LeBron is still in the Cavs, the KD Warriors are still dominating the league, and Kawhi is still in the Spurs. But there is a team in the West that gave the Warriors a run for their money, the Houston Rockets. This video is about the team that almost beat the Warriors.
Hey, 2021, I've been a little lazy. 2022, I'm popping out crazy. Joy to the world, joy to the fam. We cook up on Christmas, we going ham. We don't need no Santa, we worship the Lamb. The earth is the Lord, we taking the land. Joy to the world, Jesus was born. He died on the cross, the veil was torn. He rose from the grave, he settled the score. Call on his name, he got blessings.
Now, first, I'm going to give some slight background before I dive into this season. James Harden was drafted to Oklahoma City Thunder and was part of the infamous Young Three with KD and Westbrook. They made it all to the NBA Finals in 2012, but they fell short to the Miami Heat. Harden felt like he was being underutilized as he was a sixth man, and the contract extension they was going to give will make him the highest paid sixth man in the NBA at that time, and he will make record-setting money. But he didn't like the fact that he was in the shadow of Russell Westbrook and got traded to the Houston Rockets. Now, on this team, under Mike D'Antoni, he blossomed and became an immediate all-star and a consistent MVP candidate. Now, his running mate, Chris Paul, was on the Clippers for a while as he built a team called the Lob City Clippers. Him, Griffin, and Jordan tried to go all the way but kept falling short. So eventually, Paul, on the last year of his deal, opted in and was sent to the Houston Rockets. Now, people felt indifferent about this trade as it was two dominant point guards on the same team and trying to coexist. We have never seen Paul in a secondary playmaking role, so it was going to be a trial and error type thing as the Rockets felt like they had to do something to compete with the Warriors at that time. The team was built on shooting and playing through Paul and Harden. Now, going into this season, we already know who was dominating the league at this point, the Super Team Warriors, which ironically I make a video on them right now. Anyways, this season, they went into this team running Mike D'Antoni's offense to a T and surrounding shooters around Harden and Paul so he could run effectively. This was the 2018 Houston Rockets team. Ryan Anderson was drafted by the New Jersey Nets in 2008. He went to the Magic 2009 and then the Hornets-sized Pelicans 2012, and he became an effective bench player. He found his one his team in 2016 when he signed a new deal and stayed on his team until after this season. Anderson is known as a sharpshooter. Trevor Ariza was drafted by New York Knicks in 2004. He found his role in the Los Angeles Lakers, where he had a significant role in the 2009 championship run. That role led him a deal in Houston before he was traded to the Hornets, Wizards, and then he made a return to the Rockets in 2014 where he stayed until after the season. Ariza is known as a 3-and-D type player. Clint Capella was drafted by the Rockets in 2014 where he became a great center for this team. He stayed here until 2020 when the Rockets began to experiment with Westbrook and Harden. Clint is known for his great interior defense and ability to rebound. Eric Gordon was drafted by Los Angeles Clippers in 2008, and until 2004 he was there until he was traded to the Hornets/Pelicans. Even though he had injury issues, he still had a significant impact on his team, which ultimately landed him a $53 million contract with the Rockets until 2016, and he stayed there until 2023. Gordon is known for his ability to score. Gerald Green was drafted by the Celtics in 2008. He was traded to Timberwolves, Rockets, Mavericks, and then played overseas in the G League before finally coming back to the league in 2012 by the Nets. He signed to the Pacers, traded to the Suns, Heat, back to Boston, signed to the Bucks, but was waived, and then finally returned with Houston in 2017 and stayed until 2020. Green is known for his athleticism and his ability to semi-shoot. Nene was drafted by the Knicks in 2002, but was traded on draft night to the Denver Nuggets. He stayed with them for 10 years, becoming a pivotal starting center for this team. He was traded to the Wizards in 2012, until his contract was up, and he signed with the Rockets in 2016 and stayed until 2020. Luke Mbah-a-Moute was drafted by the Bucks in 2008 and stayed in 2013 when he was traded to the Kings. He was then traded to Timberwolves, and then traded to Sixers, and then made it on the Clippers, where most people know him because of the Lob City Clippers. He then signed to the Rockets in 2017. We had a reunion with his former teammate. And Mbah-a-Moute is known for his amazing defense, and he gains a semi-ability to shoot. PJ Tucker was drafted to the Raptors in 2006, and he was sent to the developmental league and wouldn't return to the NBA in 2012, where he was signed to the Phoenix Suns. He returned to Toronto in 2017, then signed a deal with the Rockets at offseason. He's known for his switchability on defense and his ability to switch the floor as well. His switchability eventually allowed him to play a small ball in the coming years. Now that I've talked about significant pieces on this team, let's talk about this season. Harden this season averaged 30.4 points, 8.8 assists, 5.4 rebounds, 1.8 steals, on a 44, 36, 85 splits. These averages award him with the 2018 MVP award, as many people saw this overdue. This system around Harden allowed his game to flourish even more. The issue of ball handling between Paul and Harden allowed Harden to play more off ball, and when Harden would handle the ball, Paul would play off ball. The balance of this eventually actually helped the roster, and it significantly allowed the bench players to shoot the lights off as well. This team was first in offensive rating and first in the Western Conference with a record of 65 and 17. This team shot 3,473s and made 1,256, which is 36%. They had a system and they ran effectively. Chris Paul this year averaged 18.6 points, 7.9 assists on 46, 38, 91 splits. This is one of the first times becoming a second option, but he recognized his role and allowed Harden to flourish. Now it's time for the playoffs. In the first round, they played the 8th seed Minnesota Timberwolves. This Timberwolves team improved this roster by trading for Butler right before the season started. This team fell short and didn't live up to expectations due to circumstances for a different type of video. They went into this series expecting to sweep honestly, and they started off slow. In game 1, Harden dropped 44, and Clint and Paul pulled their weight, but the bench didn't contribute as much. The Rockets only won by 3, as the Timberwolves had a bad night. In game 2, Harden only dropped 12 points, but Paul pulled his weight and dropped 27. The bench contributed even with the star player underperforming and blew this team out 102-82. In game 3, the Timberwolves offense really showed up as they beat the Rockets 121-105. In game 4, Harden dropped 36 and Paul dropped 25 as this dynamic duo was in full effect this night. The bench performed as well and this team won 119-100. In game 5, Harden played okay as he dropped 24 and Paul dropped 12. Even though they both couldn't score as effectively as the other night, their playmakers showed out and they closed this series and won this game 122-104. The Rockets moved on to the semifinals. In the second round, they played the surprising Utah Jazz team, who beat the Oklahoma City Thunder with the Paul George and Westbrook duo. The Jazz was being led by a young Donovan Mitchell, who showed his flashes and was becoming a franchise cornerstone for this team. Game 1, Harden showed out as usual and dropped 41 points, and Paul only dropped 17. But again, his playmakers showed out, but the bench didn't pull their weight like they were supposed to. But it didn't matter, and they still won this game 110-96. In game 2, Harden played well again, and he dropped 32 points. Paul dropped 23, and Clint dropped 21, but the bench didn't pull their weight, and in that turn caused them to lose this game by 8 points. In game 3, Harden only dropped 25, and Paul only 15, but their playmakers showed out as the bench decided to contribute tonight as Eric Gordon started cooking and dropped 25 points. The Jazz underperformed and the Rockets won this game 113-92. In game 4, Harden dropped 24, Paul dropped 27, and Mike D'Antoni decided to limit the amount of players that were playing that night, and the bench contributed a little bit. They still won this game though, 100-87, and were up 3-1 this series at this point. In game 5, Chris Paul decided to go off and drop a casual 41 points and led this team. Harden only dropped 18 as he underperformed, but it didn't matter as the playoff Paul propelled his team to the Western Conference Finals. Now, here's the showdown everyone is waiting for: the Golden State Warriors versus Houston Rockets. People had the Warriors win this easily as they couldn't imagine a world where this team gets knocked off, but they were in for a rude awakening. In game 1, Harden showed out like usual and dropped 44 points and Paul dropped 23. But it wasn't enough as the offensive overpowered Warriors team all played their role and won this game 119-106, and it was up in this series 1-0. In game 2, Harden dropped 27 and Paul dropped 16, and the bench showed up as well, with Clay and Curry struggling and allowed the Rockets to win this game 127-105. In game 3, Harden struggled as he only dropped 20 points, and his Rockets team underperformed this game as the Warriors dominated offensively and won this game 126-85. It is now 2-1 this series, and it looks like the Warriors will win the next two, but at this point it's not the turning point in this series. In game 4, Harden dropped 30 and Paul dropped 27 respectively as the Warriors underperformed. The Rockets played good defense on the Warriors team and they showed they have fight in them and can win this series. They won this closest game 95-92 and tied this series up. In game 5, Harden underperformed as he only dropped 19 and Paul dropped 20. Mike D'Antoni only played 7 plays this whole game, and Eric Gordon showed out off the bench. The bench for the Warriors didn't contribute as the Rockets edged out this game 98-92 and was up in the series 3-2. In this game, Paul infamously hit a shimmy after hitting a tough 3-pointer to seal this game as the Rockets had momentum and luckily they actually beat this powerhouse of a team. But unfortunately, something will happen in this game that would change the way this team goes forward. Paul gets injured and suffers a hamstring injury, which allows him not to play in Game 6 with Gordon coming in his place. In Game 6, Harden dropped 32, but the rest of his team that tried to contribute without the playmaker of Paul, it slowed him down. It was blown out 115-86. In Game 7, with the series tied 3-3, it came down to the last wire, as people didn't know who was going to win this game. Even with Paul out, people still had hope for this team to finally put this team down. Harden dropped 32 and played the best he could. Clint dropped 20 and Gordon dropped 23 points. But what really didn't allow this team to win, as they missed an NBA record of 27 threes in a row. This is the definition of if you live by the three, you die by the three. And their host doesn't run by that. And when it didn't work and they couldn't make any, the Warriors dominated this game and won 102-92. The Warriors went on to win the 2018 NBA championship, and injuries to Paul again caused the team who was on to lose, and they suffered. They tried to win it back the next year, but they fell short in the semifinals. With the growing issues of Paul and Harden, they ended up trading Paul to the Thunder in 2019 for Westbrook. This team almost the other team that was seen as unbeatable, and a lot of people to see their flaws. Unfortunately, due to injuries and underperformance, this team didn't do what everyone wanted to do. This is the story of the team that was supposed to beat the Golden State Warriors.